Okay, perfect. We're recording, guys. So I'm really, really excited. First off, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Brittany. I don't know if you guys, not everyone knows me. If not, I am one of the 80K leaders. But I want to talk about pushing yourself and perseverance and kind of a couple little interview questions with two of my girls that are both two of my 12K leaders.
I'm trying.
Let me make sure everyone's muted. 1 second. I think I muted everyone. Perfect. So what I have on my heart tonight is to talk about your path, your journey, trusting the process, overcoming your mountains, your hills, your valleys, the mountain. Every season you're in, there's a purpose. And so, with me in the season I'm in, I found myself being really goal orientated on a different level, but also making sure that I'm being intentional and being time management. I'm in one of the most busy seasons of my life. I'm getting married in 30 days. So when people are like, how do you make this happen with a busy schedule? Two girls that have set out in my eyes, like that have been a part of my tribe, are Gia and Krissa. And the reason I want to interview them tonight is because their path, my path, and their path, and all of our paths are also different, but they keep focal on their vision of where they're going. And they have been two girls that I've watched transform over the last 6 months, especially so much. And I wanted to share their story a little bit and just a couple questions that I had for them. So I'm going to go over the first question with them, and I want you guys to just hear their story on it. Gia, I'm going to start with you. But the question I had for them, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this, is because a lot of us look at like just business as business, but business is also self-growth. And so my first question for Gia was, what have you overcome in the last 6 months? Like, what's been the biggest thing that you've seen shift within yourself? So go ahead, Gia.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me good? Okay, awesome. And I apologize now. I am still getting over like a cough, so if I cough, I apologize. But so the past 6 months, really what I had to overcome was just kind of getting over myself and getting over, I've realized that life will happen. It's always going to happen to you. And no matter what, life's never going to stop happening, but you have to just make sure that you overcome and you rise and you consistently just continue to push yourself. There are days that, my health might not be the best. I might physically not feel the best, but I make sure that you just keep going, whether that's making sure your mindset's bulletproof and, just overcoming in general, and just making sure that bad things are going to happen, right? Life's going to take a turn. It's going to hit you between the eyes. You might fall on your butt, but you know what? That's never going to stop happening. So you just have to get up and rise. And I realized that, for me, life was happening, and that's totally okay. And I accepted that and I took it on as a challenge, but I continued to really make sure that I just got over myself consistently. I didn't let like my mindset drift. I kept focus. And I also I made sure that my path is going to be very different from Brittany's, from Krissa, from everybody in this business. And I think that's what makes everything so unique. But even though life was happening, you continue to plant those seeds. You continue to grow. And maybe it's not at the same pace as your enroller. Maybe it's not at the same pace as your downline, your sideline, your upline. It doesn't matter. As long as you make sure that you keep your path consistent in the focal point and just make sure that no matter what, you are just continuing to rise above and continue to push on. So I think that was just my biggest thing of, life's not stopping. It's going to work for you if you allow it to. It's going to work against you if you allow that to. So you have to pick your heart, pick your reasonings. And I think that just really making sure you just get over yourself. I know our team has been reading Get Over Your Damn Self, that self-development book. And honestly, it's just so true. We are our number one, I feel like, blockers in a lot of things. We can either block ourselves completely from like all the blessings, all the things happening, or we could really open up our paths. And you just have to remember, choose which way you want to go. because life's always going to happen, but you just have to make that decision. Are you going to rise above it, or are you going to, let life happen to you? So I think my biggest thing these last 6 months was just making sure that no matter what happens, I just continue to be on my path. I know I'm here for a reason. I love what I'm doing. My purpose is, shining through, and just continue on that way. And then just getting over yourself if, your mindset tries to knock you down.
I absolutely love everything you just said, and just like me personally watching you grow through that, because I know we all have our things and everyone has their things, but really what I tell my team is, and this is something I had to learn if you're a leader, is to match their efforts. And Lindsay helped me so much with that, because that was something that I struggled with as a leader, because I always have to learn that I have to be complimenting who they are and what their vision is for their business. And so I always tell my girls to keep blinders on. Don't worry about left or right. Don't compare yourself to, be your own runner, but don't look to the left or the right. So the other babe that I'm so excited to bring on is Krissa, and she's near and dear to my heart as well. And these girls have persevered. I know a lot of behind the scene things that go on with them, and there's a lot of life. But yet you don't see people, you don't hear them talking about all the negative. You see them talking about the light within them. And so I'm excited to bring on Krissa now and talk a little bit about what she's overcome in the last 6 months.
Can you hear me fine? Am I good? Okay. So I kind of struggled a little bit when she asked me, she told me that she wanted me to share about what I've overcome. And I was like, I haven't overcame anything. We're hard on ourselves and we don't feel like we've went from one point to another one. So I immediately texted my best friend and I was like, what have I overcame? And it's funny because she brought up the exact conversation that I had with Brittany, literally yesterday or day before yesterday. I'm just going to be honest. I've been operating out of survival mode. And if you all watched this training, at the moment, I can't even think of who all was on that training, but I know absolutely everybody can relate to this at some point in life or business where you're constantly like, okay, my bills are due. I don't have the money. I can't show up 100% because you can't show up because you're always focused on the lack, always focused on you don't have, you're not going to make things happen. You're not going to get these bills paid. There's been times where, my phones are off and okay, is that an excuse? Or do I go to Target and sit and work on my phone, with Wi-Fi? There's been plenty of times, the power's been off. You have to make it work. That's just the perseverance and just overcoming things. So I really, really, a couple days ago, Brittany's been telling me the last few weeks, she was like, you have this different glow going on. You have some things that, I don't know, I turned that light on. You just have a different vibe lately, and I'm so proud of you. And I was like, you know what, I kind of do. I was telling her, I've been in complete alignment, and that's the only way I know how to describe it. I wake up each day and it doesn't matter what's thrown my way. I just have to switch that mind shift, and it's like, okay, it's fine, let's roll with it. And I know a lot of you all message me because I'll do Facebook stories or Instagram stories, and I'm always like, it's fine, everything's fine, because when crap goes wrong, I'm just like, it's fine, we're just gonna go with it, everything is fine. So that's just one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome is life is gonna freaking happen regardless. I don't care if you have $1 million in your bank account, that's not gonna save you from somebody getting sick, your family dying. Life is gonna happen regardless. It's not easy to run a business or to be home full time with a baby that's all over the place. I'll be honest, I am not perfect at life. Is rough a lot of times. It's not easy. I don't just get up every morning and think, okay, it's gonna be a breeze today. I'm gonna take care of my kid. She's gonna be perfectly fed and bathed, and my business is gonna be perfectly worked, and I'm gonna get all the IPAs knocked out, and then my life's just great. No, never. Hardly ever. But those are the days that I really just had to come to terms, and I'm like, okay, but what is going right? So a lot of things that just, I literally had to overcome my mindset. That's just the biggest thing. What you're telling yourself, if you're constantly waking up and you're like, okay, I woke up 5 minutes late, today's gonna suck. Today's gonna freaking suck. because that's what you're constantly telling yourself. So I realized like living in this survival mode wasn't helping anyone, not me, not my family, not my kids, not my team, not anything. I have suffered. Let me tell you, like, that's the word for it. I've suffered as a leader. Like I said, in my friendships, in my business, if I'm not showing up 100% for myself, I can't show up at all for anyone else. Like, I can't give my husband 10% if I don't give myself 100%. So that's the biggest thing, is those mindset shifts. I know it sounds so stupid for us to get on here all the time and be like, check your mindset, work on your mindset. Okay, why? That's what I've been telling myself for 6 months. Like, what is Brittany talking about? Like, what? There's nothing wrong with my mindset. There was everything wrong with my mindset. That is literally what I've done, is work on myself for the last, I don't know how long, like I said. And I swear to you, I feel like it was kind of like it wasn't overnight, but it feels like that. Like, it feels like one day I just woke up and was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to keep making excuses. I'm not going to keep making things hard. So I think that was pretty much my overcome.
I'm so thankful for you guys, because I know it's hard to share some of these things, like health and, behind the scenes, and like how you were operating in those moments. But the thing is, we need to hear it because we all go through it. It's hard for me to connect into those areas sometimes, because I have trained myself, not perfectly. I have my days, I have my moments, but I know how to bounce out of those. And sometimes I have a disconnect as a leader where I have to take myself back to those moments. And that's why I want you guys on here sharing who you two are, because I've seen you guys shift so much, and so much more alignment and abundance already, just by you growing yourself. And that's why I'm so big on mindset, because your business won't ever connect until you connect with you. And so the second question is, what is your daily 3 non-negotiables for your business? Gia, you can totally go. I think I'll mute myself.
So my 3 non-negotiables, so going back to mindset, that's first and foremost, is constantly growing my mind and my faith first. So for a while, I felt there was a disconnect of my mindset. My faith was still there, but when you go through health things that your body kind of just is going crazy on you, you have all these symptoms going on, you're in pain a lot of the times, and no doctor could like tell you what's going on, and you just kind of feel very out of control of your own body, experiencing things that you've never experienced, anxiety being one of them. It's very taxing on, especially, like, it was very taxing on me, and 100% it affected my mindset. And it was borderline affecting my faith, because I was like, okay, God, enough is enough. Like, let's fix this. Why are you letting this happen? But when like Krista said, like, it feels like it was overnight. I don't know what, I don't know how, I don't know why, but it was like something clicked, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I letting this happen? Why am I letting my mindset slip? Why am I letting my faith slip? Like, this is not who I am, and I'm not gonna just lay down and take what's going on with me as the answer, or I'm not just gonna settle. And I didn't allow that to happen. So first and foremost, every single day I will wake up and I will throw on, if I'm, doing faith first, I'll listen to Elevation Church podcast. If I need to dive in for like my whole morning of self-development, I'll put on my Audible, I'll put on a training video, I'll put on a YouTube. In our chat, we're constantly sending different like YouTubes or little videos to watch, things like that. And that is first and foremost a non-negotiable for me, because I know what it feels like to have my mindset slip and falter, and I never want to feel like that again, because it affected my business. It affected not only me personally and how I kind of was living my life, it affected others around me, and then it also affected my business. So knowing that I will never let happen again. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I share the products. So in some way or form, everybody knows that how conversations for me are always started are They talk about my faith. They talk about my positivity that I put out there, but they also talk about my routine. So they know that Gia's gonna post something. She takes that shake every single day. Always just making sure you stay relevant. It doesn't have to be monotonous is not the word, but it doesn't have to be the same repeated every single day. Keep it fresh, keep it new. But sharing my products, they're a part of my life. They saved my health. They saved my mindset. So that's me. That's a part of me. And I share my life. And, you don't have to be a complete and total open book on social media. It's to what you feel comfortable with. But I feel comfortable of sharing my life and sharing my journey and sharing my path. So sharing the products every single day, that's part of my path. So that's going to be on there. And doing my IPAs is obviously another non-negotiable for me. So in some way or the other. So I do the same IPAs every single day, but every single day they look a little bit different. So I work a full-time job right now. And for the most part, that's during the day that I'm working, I can't have these chunks of like 30, 40 minutes times where I can get all my IPAs done at once. But what I do is I use those nooks and crannies throughout my day, whether it's in between clients, whether it's, I have a free minute. I'm doing it in the nooks and crannies, but I think that really has been helping me. It's because I know I only have a set amount of time to do it. And so I'm super intentional with that. So it doesn't have to be like, you never have to think, oh, well, I don't have 30 minutes at a time to do my IPAs. I can't possibly do them in the morning. I have to wait until nighttime, after I feed everybody, I bathe everyone and the kids are in bed. That's not true. Be intentional with your time that you do have. And if it's even 2 minutes, use those 2 minutes super intentionally. So for me, it's, we all have the same 24 hours in the day, but we just have to really make those hours that we have work to our best ability, because everybody's schedule is going to get in the way, right? Life is going to happen yet again, but we just have to make sure that we stay consistent with these non-negotiables, because we know not only are they going to grow our business, but they're also going to help us grow, which it's kind of like a snowball effect. You grow your business, but you grow yourself, you grow your business, you're growing your business, and you're constantly growing with it. So those are my super main non-negotiables. And I just feel like being very consistent, for me, routine is everything. So I like to show that, you will see me drinking my shake in the morning. You will see me waking up with my Sculpt before I go work out. So I just think that when you start consistently doing things, people are going to catch on to that, and they value you so much more because they feel like they know a little bit more about you, if that makes sense.
I love these so much. Krista, I'm going to hop right into you because I think these are so good and I have nothing to say. I'm like over here, like, give me all the nuggets, please.
Okay, so I have I thrive off of routine, but my life is never freaking routine. Like literally, I got on here at 9:02 because we just walked in the door from basketball. Like we didn't even have time to grab fast food. I ordered pizza because my life is always hectic. So I want to share a little bit differently. I feel like we all are always like honed into your IPAs and this is what you do every single day. Like we know how to work our business. So I'm going to go into like what I have to do to pour into me every day. So one thing that changed the game for me, and I know that somebody else is going to feel, is like, I used to say I'm not a reader. Like I have books all the time just because I would buy them, but I wouldn't read them. And I think it didn't click until Brittany actually bought me a book. She Amazon Primed me a book out of nowhere, and she was like, let's read this book. And what was it? It's Not Supposed to Be This Way. And that's kind of what got me into it, and I've been reading books since. So I don't know what it is. Like it just gives me this peace that nothing else does. Because as a mom, come on now, I don't get bubble baths. Like, let's be honest, I barely get showers. So that I had to find something that gave me a little bit of peace. And I felt like I like to watch Netflix and stuff every now and then. I watch a show, but that doesn't give me peace. Like sometimes if you watch a show, you can get kind of wrapped up in it. Like with Grey's Anatomy, when Derek Shepherd dies, my life was over, like stuff like that. So you have to like flip the script. So I had to figure out something that would help me, and reading is what does it. So most nights, like, I read a lot of times in the mornings, but like I make sure that I read before bed because it calms me down. Like it really just helps me sleep because I have a hard time shutting my mind off at bedtime anyways. So I always make sure that I have some kind of Bible study that I'm doing. I usually do like what Ann's doing or if Katie's doing one. And then I always have like a personal development book. Like I've done the magic, different books like that. The one book that I just finished though, and I don't know if a lot of you all have heard of it, but it's called Unleash Your Inner Money Babe. It's a 21-day money babe challenge, and it's about like manifesting. It's similar to the magic. So she goes in like deeper than the magic and stuff. So her name is Catherine Zenkina. So I know we can reference this. I can share it in the chats later too. But it's just like I went off of the video challenge that she does. So it's 21 days, just like the kind of like the magic is, and you just do these different exercises. So, anyways, that's what really boosted my manifestation, abundance, like all the things. Like that's how I got my life back on track, basically. So I did want to share that in case somebody wants to start there. And then I always, like when I wake up in the morning, I know a lot of people will say like, don't touch your phone. So when I get my phone, like my husband's gone to work, so I always check my phone. Like we're completely different here. So I always check my phone. He texts me, and he's like, I love you, I'm at work, whatever. So I automatically check my phone in the mornings. That's me. I text him back, and then I automatically wake up, go to the bathroom, get the kids up, whatever. But I listen to a YouTube video. That's how I start my days every single morning, whether it's like a preacher or just some kind of self-development. That's how I start every day. And then like Gia said, we share videos all the time in the chat, so you should be able to find something. The second thing that I always make sure I do is I show up in my stories. No matter what, like, there's some days where there might be 10, there's some days where there might be 25 stories on there, but I always show that I'm taking my products in the morning. I always show like my life. Like you'll see my daughters or whatever in my stories all day long. Like tonight it was basketball. I always make sure that people know that I'm me, that I'm real, that I'm not just somebody on here trying to spam their timeline and share this or that or whatever and try to sell them something. Like the majority of my inbox comes from people asking about my family. Am I frozen? It looks like everybody else is frozen. So I hope not. But that's I always share like stories. So I make sure I stay in my stories constantly, all day, every day. And like I said, it can be quotes. It can be quotes. It can be your family. Absolutely anything. Like I said, your IPAs. You just do those. So I always stay consistent in my stories. And then my third non-negotiable is taking my freaking products. Because number one, I don't function without these products. Like I literally swear, like I would lay my life down for these products. That's how serious I am about them. Like if you don't feel that way, then that's where you need to start with your business. But I always, like, I don't function without them. So that's the number one thing I do, take my products, and I just share that. So if I don't take my products, like I said, I can't show up 100% for myself, for my family, for anything. Like if I don't have my black label on or something, you don't want me in your life. Like, I'm just going to be real. So I always make sure that I do that because, like I said, I can't do all the things that I do. I wouldn't still be going at 9:30 right now after the long day that I've had without these products. So that is always number one for me, is making sure that I'm taking my products and taking care of myself. So I know that I've shared a lot about that tonight. So that's pretty much my non-negotiables. Like I said, besides, IPAs and things that work my business every day, I really wanted to share from that standpoint.
I love these because this is what I want to point out to you guys. These non-negotiables that are so different from both, like everyone has their own non-negotiables or whatever, but they're all IPAs. Do you see how that is? No matter what they're talking about right now, it is an income producing activity. Okay, so perspective is key, because even though their lifestyles are very different, they're still doing similar things, just what works for them with their routine. But they have a routine, even though it may be messy or maybe it be organized, it still gets done daily. Okay, so I wanted to point that out at the end. The last thing I have for them is, what is one tip or the best tip you can give to stay focused and have your vision on your path, not looking to the left or the right. Go ahead, Gia.
So my one tip would be find what works for you and only you, and go full force towards that. Like I had mentioned before, your speed and your pace of your own path might not look like anybody else's, and that's totally okay. As long as you can honestly like look yourself in the mirror and say, what I'm doing is impacting me positively and I'm happy doing it. So in life, and especially in this business, you can never just be stagnant and be okay with where you are. In terms of like, yes, you should be happy in your present moment, but you should always strive for doing a little bit more, doing a little bit better, because you know, we have to continue to grow. And for me, my biggest thing is I keep my why in my forefront. I know that, and my why is ever changing. Like, I feel like I constantly text Chris and Brittany and I'm like, oh my God, this just happened. Like, add it to the list. Like, I have so much going on during this time of my life that it's very exciting to add these things to your why list. But it's also, it makes me take a step back and like, I get really emotional when I think about it, because it's like, okay, well, now I have to level up. Like I'm happy where I am, but if I want to be here now with my why, it's time to grow. So my whole thing is make sure that whatever you do is truly making you happy. It's impacting your life positively, but it's also making you look at it and say, okay, it's go time. We're growing. I constantly, like, my thing is like, I just need to go and grow, because if you're not like leveling up in every single aspect, it's hard to achieve those whys. So for a long time, I think that, you know, when my mindset was a little bit down, things like that, I think my why seemed way too far in the future. I was like, I can't, that might be my why, but I don't know if I can achieve that. But it was because I was kind of just being stagnant. I was like very one note. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's time that I level up, I rise. And it was not at anybody else's pace but my own. And knowing that, you know, I don't have to sprint full force as long as I just continue to go and I'm working for what I want in the end. And I don't care if I don't hit, you know, everybody's same milestones in the same amount of time that they did it. That's not what this is about at all, because everybody is so unique. I just like think of like babies. Like, not every baby is going to hit a milestone at exactly the month mark that they're supposed to, and that's okay, right? Like, that's totally okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with them per se. It's just they're taking it at their own pace. So why can't we do that? And I just think that it's super important to realize, because I think too often we get so hard on ourselves, but we have to give ourselves grace and realize, well, why do I have to be so hard on myself? Like, why, you know, this is my path. I'm taking it. I'm continuing to grow. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, I can get there. Here is my why. It's at the forefront of my mind constantly. And as long as that is ever changing too for me, that just makes it, you know, it makes your why so much more real. To me, when I'm able to text Brittany and Chris and say, oh my gosh, like, you know, me and Nick are, you know, hoping to start a family soon. That's my new why. I want to be a stay-at-home mom, you guys. Like, I don't want to have to work a full-time job. I want to stay at home with my babies. But I know by doing the work now, that will come when that time is supposed to happen. You know, it's not in our timing, faith-based or not. You don't always get what you want right when you get it, regardless of what you believe, whose timing it is, right? So it's, you know, while we're in the present moment, do the work, be consistent, level up every single time, and just go and grow in your own way, making sure that your purpose is being fulfilled, your passion is shining, and your why is just at the forefront of your mind constantly, because when that happens, that's when things are going to change. So that's my biggest tip, of just be you, do you on your own time, but just continue to grow constantly.
I'm getting chills over here. You guys are preaching. I'm loving this. Okay, Carissa, go right into it. Top tips on focus and then staying on your path.
And with Gia, because mine's like a whole other. note. So I wanted to share, like I said, I wanted this training to be a little bit differently than what we usually talk about. I wanted to end this with like a good note. I wanted to tell you all that it's okay to watch Netflix. It's okay to do things for yourself. It's okay to unplug sometimes. It's okay if you watch one Netflix show a day. Like, it's not a problem. I don't like the whole, like Gia said, go at your own pace, grow at your own pace. Like, you don't have to constantly be like, that was my biggest thing. Like, I would tell DJ, I didn't get anything done today. And I'd be mad at myself. And then I would go to bed mad because I didn't get anything done. Who is that helping? Not me. It's not helping me get anything done. It's just making things worse for myself. So exactly, give yourself grace. So what I started doing is, like I told you, I've been reading more. So I make sure that my reading is done, or that I get something like that done before I watch a Netflix show. Because I deserve to watch TV when I want to, or do what I want to, or unplug when I want to. I don't need to be hard on myself and be like, okay, I didn't, do 50,000 hours of IPAs today, so I guess I can't watch TV. Like, you don't need to be that hard on yourself. That's not what this business is about. You do not need to be on your phone 24/7. You don't need to be stressing yourself out. This is supposed to be fun. If you're going to stress yourself out, if you're going to feel like you have to work 8 hours a day on your phone every single day, go get a job. I'm just going to be honest. Like, that's not what this is. That's not what this is meant to be. And you're not supposed to be treating yourself that way. That's not helping you. It's not helping your family, and it's not helping your team leading that way either. So that's really one thing that I needed to learn myself, and that's where I feel like my up level has came, and where my alignment came in, because I was like, maybe this person gets to do 50 rounds of IPAs before 10 a.m. I don't. That's okay. I'll get it in when I need to get it in. So, and I feel like me being me is the way that I need to lead my team too. I'm not Brittany. I'm not Gia. We're not the same. We do things differently, and that's okay. So I want you all to realize that it's okay to do the things the way that you do them too. It's fine. So like I said, I always stay consistent with that. If I'm having a day and, and it's more than just like, you need to watch some personal development or something like that. Like I said, I get my stuff done, and then I'll take a shower. I'll watch Netflix or do whatever I need to do, because we don't get these times back. And that was one thing. The one other thing that I wanted to share before I switch it back to Brittany was, I came from another company where it was, they preach sleep when you're dead. You don't need sleep. Let's stay up like late night, early mornings every single day. Miss your kids' stuff because you can be there later. I don't believe in that. And we were preached that so long. Like, I could have stayed at home tonight and was hard on myself and worked instead of going to my kids' basketball practice, because it's just practice, right? No, I wanted to be there. I'm not going to get this time back. I'm not. He's not going to be playing sixth grade basketball for 6 more years. Like, these are the times that I'm supposed to be here. So like I said, if I can't unplug and do what I need to do with my family, I might as well go work my 9 to 5 and then be off at 5 and be at what I need to be at. Like, I'm not going to be hard on myself. I'm not going to hound myself like that. I'm going to get my crap done. I'm going to be real with myself and not make excuses, because that's not at all what I'm saying. You got to get the work done. You got to put the work in, because it's not just going to happen, but you also got to give yourself grace and go at your own pace too. So I hope that was helpful.
Okay, so I absolutely love everything, and I want to take it and end it with just a thing, because this is why I had both of your personalities. I didn't tell you guys this part because I wanted to talk about it openly. Both of you guys have very different Enneagrams, which you have, if you haven't taken an Enneagram test, but they are going to be your personality traits. Like some of the things that you're high strong in, or how you operate, how you present yourself to the world. Both of you are very different, and I'm very different from you guys. So this is why I wanted to have this level of differences on here, because it doesn't matter where you come from, what you do, how you show your business, how you run your business. If you're being you, you will grow. And I piggybacking off of Gia and Krista and this non-negotiable, mine is so hard, and both my girls, my leadership, all of you guys know I'm like consistent. I'm a consistent leader. I'm a consistent person. to a fault sometimes. I'm a workaholic, and I had to start talking openly about this because I had to get real with this area. Because the reason I wanted to mention this, because there's different levels of Gia on this, there's different levels of Krista on here, and then there's different levels of me. I have a couple girls that are on my team that are just like me and will like exhaust themselves because they're showing up too much. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just meaning it like, here's the thing, you guys. The moment I learned, and Katie helped me so much in this, because I will literally work because I know what I want. I know what it takes. Nothing's going to get in the way, to a fault where it would affect my home life sometimes even. And I had to be like, okay, I can't be my best in business if I'm not learning to have balance. And I'm not saying, I hate that expression, like balance isn't a myth, but it is, because there's no such thing as balance. It's what your perspective around what you're doing throughout your day. And so for me, like today, if I know I need to unplug for an hour or a few hours or whatever it may be, or I need to spend my morning, I spent all in an Audible this morning. My whole morning. And normally I would be so hard on myself because I'm not in my income producing activities and not in my chat helping all my girls. You know, I'm hard on myself sometimes. And as a leader, I had to start sitting back and be like, I can't be the best leader for them, because then I'm going to start operating out of perfectionism. Perfectionism is also a trait that we all have. There's so many different traits that you have to be aware of what you're bringing throughout your day too. And this is where the growth process comes in. This is why I had Gia and Krista on here, because we all grow differently. We all have different things we're growing from. We all have different levels of whatever. But at the end of the day, it's about us shifting whatever makes it work for us. So for me, hey, instead of working full force like I always do, like this has been one of the best months I've had probably in like ever, honestly. Like, and only because it's like I'm aligned, because I'm filling my cup first. And I practice what I preach, but I also have to learn what I disconnect from as well, and protect making sure I'm showing up, but showing up as the best me in those intentional moments. So the thing is, okay, and I want to make this clear, and then I promise I'm done. You can't use that as an excuse though always either. And this is the reason why I'm having Gia and Krista on here, because I don't care what they've been through or what they've grown from or whatever their struggles have been over the last 6 months, 8 months, 2 months, 3 months, they show up every single day. They do. They know if they need to unplug for a day. But if they're unplugged for a day, they're doing the behind the scenes work still. They're still in their stories here and there. They're still reading. They're still in self-development. Okay, so that's the thing about it. You're unplugging this. You're still scrolling through social media. They're being intentional with it. So that's the thing about the consistency part. Find what works for you in balance, but don't use that as your excuse not to show up. And that was the other thing that I always, because like I said, you're on your own growth journey. Either you're showing up where it's hurting you too much because you're burning yourself out, or you're not showing up and using it as an excuse, or there's different growth levels that you have to be realizing for who you are and what you're bringing to the table. And the last thing, and I'm done, I promise. This time I'm really promise. This is what I do on phone calls. So your thermostat is right here. Okay. And my girls know this a lot, is something I operate in. You're operating at this thermostat. If you need to turn up like in your house and it's cold, you need to turn the heater on, you're going to raise the thermostat, right? It's going to elevate into that next level. So it gets to the hottest level you set it at. But if you're only setting it right here and now it's time to raise the thermostat to get up here, you have to push that part. This is where you're maybe operating at this work level, this mindset, this whatever consistency, whatever's right here that's keeping you like wherever your thermostat's at, whatever results you're getting. Now it's time to push yourself and raise your thermostat, dude. In order to get creative, in order to get happy, in order to get growing, in order to get into any type of alignment like these two babes have done, guess what? They raised their damn thermostat. Sorry, I cuss sometimes, so I hope there's no kids around. But I love you all. And that was honestly what I wanted to talk about. I wanted these babes to pour into you guys. So I hope y'all have a beautiful night.